A-League Access brought to you by Barry Plant.
Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of A-League Access. We have a lot to cover with the A-League and Ollie Roos tonight, and as always, I'm joined by Bern Merkel. Good evening, Bern.
Good evening, John.
We must start the show with the big news of the week, and that is Melbourne City has taken out its first Premier's plate after accounting for Central Coast Mariners last week. Bern, it's a great result for the club following its move down to Casey.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was there at the stadium at Amy Park and it was a great atmosphere, although I must admit the attendance was not as big as you're used to in Melbourne, for example, with other clubs. But I was really happy for them because, as we say, the letter doesn't lie, and they were definitely the best team of the whole regular season.
Do you think this might give them a chance to finally get that brand identity that has been missing since the City Group took over?
I think it's definitely a good start. I mean, it's the first time now that they won this. The took over was about 6-7 years now ago, and you can see that there has been a bit of a boost also in the press conference with Patrick Snowboard, that there is really some enthusiasm growing now. It will still take time, and as I said, it was a bit disappointing to have only those 8,000-9,000 at a match where Melbourne City is really competing for the first time. But I'm hopeful because it's really good for football to have a strong Melbourne City squad.
Yeah, for sure. It's also a great result for a young manager, Patrick Snowboard.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, he has his past with the club. I think that's also something that makes the difference, that you don't have, with all respect, a trainer that comes, a coach from overseas. So really someone that has grown with the club and has this bit of history. So and that gives me the optimism to say there is something growing. And with all respect to also Melbourne Victory and Western United, a good competition is very, very helpful.
It's a great result for Patrick, I think, because he, as a player, he didn't reach his full potential because he was cut down with so many injuries. This has given him a real path to it and a great sign for our managers out there.
Yes, and in particular, if you see what happened in the past with Melbourne City, that they had these international coaches with a lot of experience. They just couldn't get Melbourne City there where the club had the potential. And if you see like Jamie McLaren, who played an outstanding season, and but you need also a coach that gives you that kind of boost, right? I mean, it's a team effort, and you have other players that stepped up as well.
Yeah. He's certainly done a fantastic job. But the other big news from last week was the record crowd at Wellington's homecoming game. Over 24,000 in attendance for their first home game in 433 days. What a remarkable effort by the whole club in such difficult circumstances. They deserved the crowd and the result, Bern, didn't they?
Yes, and if you think about, as you said, so for such a long time, no home game, and always in the past, Wellington Phoenix has a little bit under the microscope of maybe getting the license taken away. Now the players had to be in Australia for several months, being away from their families, and now finally having this game at home. And I was really, really happy to see that, and also gives me the confidence that there is the potential in New Zealand, and couldn't be any better. As Ufuk Talay said in the interview after the match as well, it makes such a difference when you have the crowd and then you win. Yeah,
no, look, I thought they couldn't lose this game.
Yeah.
Like, the crowd was fully behind them. The city was alive and everything. And we saw the famous 80-minute mark with quite a few people with their shirts off there, Bern.
Yes, that's absolutely true. And I mean, that's what soccer is about, right?
Yeah, the passion was great. They have another game coming up in Auckland that is already selling well. They could even top the 20,000 mark again.
Yes, and even then, you're now going to another city and still have this crowd coming up and the excitement, which shows, yes, there is something happening over there, and you just need to really consider what is the potential of the clubs and what can you achieve there. So I'm very hopeful. We will see if Wellington can make it to the finals, but in general, a very, very good turnout and a good result for the team coming back.
The other news out of the game in Wellington was the retirement of stalwart Andrew Durante. He played over 250 games for Wellington, so it was great for him to be able to have the send-off there in Wellington.
Yeah, and you couldn't have written that better in a movie, right? He had, I think, more than 400 games in total on top league level in Australia and New Zealand, and then I think 356 A-League games. Nobody else has had more games. So now at the age of 39, retiring. But as you said, he was also an international for New Zealand, and I wish him all the best. But what an outstanding career he had. Really sad to see him go. I'm very happy that someone like him also got the reward with winning the championship with Newcastle Jets at that time. Yeah. So, but also really sad to see someone like him leaving.
We with a player like that, we don't want to lose their football brain either. He's one who certainly would go into some sort of role still at a club.
I hope so, because these are really, as we just said with Patrick Kosnobo, right? It's the best example to have these kind of players that grew up with the A-League. They know how the A-League works. And again, you sometimes need this kind of overseas experience as well, but then to have someone that is really like a child of the A-League and can give his experience to the young upcoming players, that's something I really hope that Andrew Durante stays there and really then can help the A-League growing.
Yeah. Look, now on the other front in the A-League, there's been talk of, with the broadcast deal, CBS Paramount has been coming up for discussion with their streaming platform.
Yes, and that's the point. Look, I'm very black and white with that. Just get the A-League out there for the people to watch it as much as possible without any pay TV restrictions. That's where I see the biggest problem at the moment, because the numbers are really declining, crowds are declining. So at the moment, from my perspective, the more you have it on free TV, the more promotion it gets also in general, the better it is. So which channel in the end it will be, I don't care so much, but just let it be there.
Yeah, but I think, look, it's obviously going to end up on some sort of streaming platform,
yes,
whether that's CBS, KO, Optus or something. But you are right, we do need some free-to-air presence.
No, absolutely, for sure, and also to give it a little bit of a boost and something, fresh air for this whole broadcasting scenario, I think is really, really good. So there's a lot of negotiating happening in the background at the moment, and I see positive, exciting times because, as I said, the numbers are going down and we need to get back on track.
Yeah, really important off-season coming up. We just need to take a quick break, but we'll be back with more A-League Access after the break. Welcome back, you're watching A-League Access. Last week we were discussing youth talent in Australia with Mark Bresciano, and we're delighted to have Western United's Dalibor Markovic. Dalibor, thanks for joining us and welcome to the program.
Thank you, glad to be here.
Now Dalibor, we were talking with Mark about his journey to football. How did your journey to become a professional footballer begin? You're from Sydney?
Yes, originally from Sydney. Grew up in the Western Sydney region. But we've been back and forth, to be honest, between Melbourne and Sydney. So yeah, a bit of moving around.
And your dad was a footballer as well?
Yeah, he was a goalkeeper back in his day. So played for Partizan in Serbia before he had to move to Australia. So there's a bit of footballing background in my family.
And he didn't convince you to be a goalkeeper?
Nah, surprisingly not, to be honest. Just when I was younger, he'd be actually the one in goals and I'd be the one kicking balls at him. So he didn't actually influence me to be a keeper, funnily enough. And
he was pretty good?
That's what he says. I didn't watch any film of him. So.
Oh, you haven't seen any film?
Nah, there's none. I've asked him, but apparently they've gone lost. So.
You were with the Marconi Stallions in Sydney, right? So
Yes.
how did that develop?
Yeah, so originally, before I moved to Marconi, I was in the Skillaroo system in Melbourne because we moved to Melbourne for my dad's work at the time. So I was before the Melbourne City, Victory and all that had their youth systems. The Skillaroos was pretty much the state team. So I was in that, and then we got a call from one of our old friends in Sydney, and there was an opportunity for us to go to Marconi. At the time, we thought was pretty good for my development because from what we've heard. So yeah, we packed up, we moved to Sydney, was at Marconi Stallions from I think under 13s and 14s. So I was there for 2 years, and I was pretty good at that young age. I was in a good team, had good coaches there. It was a good stage of my development. So.
And you always had this goal of becoming a professional football player?
Yeah, it's always been the goal. I mean, I'm not there yet, like you might call it that, but there's still a lot of hard work to do before I can say I made it. You know, but yeah, like that's always been the goal. Even at school, I wasn't really on that path towards university and all that. So football was always the main goal.
Did you have what other sports did you play, or are you still playing any other sports? Or?
To be honest, I enjoy tennis.
Yeah?
Yeah, so we've got a couple of local tennis courts around where I live, so me and my mates go play a couple tennis rounds sometimes, but football's number one.
Yeah, yeah. And then you've moved, so you're now back in Melbourne, and we're discussing prior to the show, you've been at all 3 Melbourne clubs now. So
yes.
Which one, you finally found a home now, have you?
Yeah, well, it's looking like it. I've got nothing but great things to say about Western United for the stint that I've been there so far, the month that I've been there. But yeah, I have been to the 3 clubs so far. I've been to Melbourne City, the NPL and youth over there.
How was that at Melbourne City with their reputation and with the City Group behind them? How was the youth system over there for you?
Of course. Look, as you all know, facilities are great. They've always got good coaches. They're a technical side. So for development at such a young age, for young kids to go there and work on their, playing out the back and your touches and passing, just the fundamental skills, it's a really good environment to be in. Like, I've got nothing but good things to say about Melbourne City, like I always say. But then, yeah, so we just thought, for me personally, I wasn't getting many opportunities as I'd like to. So we made the move over to Melbourne Victory for the Youth League season there. And as soon as I got there, everyone just welcomed me pretty good. I was still pretty young there, 17, turning 18. So I was there for a year and a half with the youth team. Yeah. And then obviously a couple months ago, made the step up to first team football, which was pretty good. And obviously you made the step up into the team in a very tumultuous time at Melbourne Victory with lots of issues on and off the park. But it was good to get a game. Yeah, of course. Well, that's what you dream of, If I'm being totally honest, a month or 2 before I made my debut, I was sitting down with my father, and we were just talking about what the next step for me was. Like, I was 19 at the time, still playing youth team football, and you get those thoughts as a 19-year-old still playing youth team, whether I'm going to make my debut or whether I'm going to get those opportunities. And luckily enough, I got that opportunity to step up to the first team environment and play a couple games. Yeah.
And you had a very good start actually at Melbourne Victory. So what made you then do the transfer to Western United? How did that happen?
Well, as we all know, Victory at the moment, they're
bit struggling.
Look, not struggling, but I think they're in a rebuild phase. So as a young player, me and my family and I, we just decided it wasn't the best time to be at that club. Nothing against them. I'm nothing but grateful for what they did to me. They started my career. I'll always be grateful to the staff and everyone at Victory for helping me do that and helping me achieve my dreams. So, But yeah, we just thought, as for my development, becoming such a young footballer at the moment, still young, I've still got a long way to go. We just thought that for my development, it'd be best if we parted ways and went a different path.
Yeah. And how crucial was Mark Rudan in that whole process?
Yeah, me and the boss had a couple talks. He likes when I call him boss, not
well done.
Yeah, still getting used to it. But yeah, look, me and the boss had a couple of talks, and after just speaking to my family and everyone around me, we just thought it was the best environment to be in, development-wise and off the field and on the field. You know what I mean? Look, as you know, Mark has a history of playing young players and giving them opportunities when they deserve it. Credit to them. So that's the path I chose to go down, and hopefully that works out for me.
Multi-million-dollar transfer fee, was it?
Nah, not yet. Hopefully soon.
No, but you obviously had a difficult start for Western United, getting injured in your first game.
Yeah. It wasn't the best debut I was hoping for, but it's football. It happens, So
yeah,
just nothing you can do about it. Just got to keep positive, and injuries will always happen. It's just about how you deal with them.
And how's the rehab going?
It's good. I've been in rehab for 3.5, 4 weeks now, so it's going good. I start training back with the team this week, so should be good to get back out there with them.
And maybe try and sneak in a game before the end
Hopefully,
of the season.
If I'm up for selection, then yeah, but that's up to the boss. So.
Yeah.
We were talking the first part about Andrew Durante, and he announced his retirement now. How crucial is such a experienced player for your own development? And how sad are you that he's leaving?
Yeah, look, ever since I got to Western United, Jura's been nothing but great to me.
Yeah.
He's been so welcoming. And credit to everyone at Western United. They've been so welcoming to me. But Jura, look, he's had a couple of chats to me, and when I found out that he was retiring, when he told us all, it was pretty sad because he's had such a great career, with everything that he's done. So, just congratulations to him, and wish him all the best for his retirement.
And now that you're at Western United, pretty new club, how much do you experience of the enthusiasm in western parts of Melbourne around this new club? Do you think, so how big is the potential to really build something there?
Well, I don't think there was a club from the west of Melbourne before Western United. So, look, there's a lot of young talent in the west, as you see. Dylan and Luke Dizelle, we're all from the west. So, I think it's really good that there's a club for the west that are giving opportunities to kids that maybe didn't get into the youth teams at Melbourne City and Victory. So there's another path for them to get into professional football. So I think it's great. Yeah.
Well, look, there's exciting times ahead for Western United and for yourself. And we really thank you for coming along and spending some time and telling us about your football journey. And we hope you can get back on the park pretty soon.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dalibor. And we just need to take a short break. You're watching A-League Access. This next segment is brought to you by Barry Plant Real Estate, for results you can rely on.
As you may or may not know, GoSoccer Mums is an introductory football program that provides participants the opportunity to be active, meet new people and learn basic football skills as well. It came about, I guess, from a number of things, but the main one being Football Victoria's strategic plan, Football Ways. And a large part of that is the Women and Girls strategy, which is aiming to get 50-50 gender participation by 2027. As well as with our partnership with Vic Health and their active women and girls strategy as well, to get more women more active more often. And it's all about providing that sort of safe and social supportive environment. No, you don't need to be a mum to participate. Any woman can participate from any background. From all walks of life. It's all about inclusivity and that social side of things, so you don't have to be a mother. Yeah, for participants interested in joining GoSoccer Mums, if you go to our website, which is soccermums.com.au, you can find all of the locations near you that are offering GoSoccer Mums. Although if there's no location near you, just email us and we can get cracking on hopefully finding a club near you that can start it off.
So initially I started out with the initial mums group with Heather as our deliverer, and that's probably going on to 2 years later. And it just sort of got me out and doing what I love. And yeah, just getting us out and about, meeting new people, being active, physical. My daughter's been able to join me as well, so that's been really fun, and obviously me being as an active role model for my kids is very important to me. And yeah, it's been an amazing experience. We have had some friendly matches against like Ballarat and Darebin, and we've been involved in a tournament as well. And yeah, just same thing. They're all mums or active women, and it was just a fun game, and everyone just did as much as they can and participated as much as they can, and we just had fun on the day. Just the atmosphere of being with these amazing ladies and them showcasing what they can do, and from where they've begun to where they are with their skill level, and how much you can kind of get out of them, and how much joy you can give them as well, like just being a family basically.
Thank you to Elsa Mangan from Football Victoria and the GoSoccer Mums. If you're interested in the GoSoccer Mums program or want more information, head to the Football Victoria website. Thanks again to the wonderful GoSoccer Mums for their time, and we wish them all the very best for the future. In other news, the Olyroos will travel to Spain for 4 matches against strong opposition in preparation for this year's Olympics. Graham Arnold has selected 23 players to feature in these warm-up games, including Daniel Azani, Jacob Italiano and Rami Najarine, just to name a few. Bernd, what do you think of the squad and this important set of matches?
Yeah, it is, as you said, very important, in particular as the Socceroos will then head to Kuwait soon. And as Graham Arnold said, he is really trying to build a strong Olyroos squad for a future strong Socceroos squad. So it's interesting, he himself won't be there, so they all will be under the supervision of Van Egmond. And the squad they have selected, I think there are a few names, as you said, from Newcastle Jets. We have 3 players. We have Ryan from Melbourne Victory. Otherwise, the players from the teams that made it to the finals won't be there, but that was the negotiation that they did. So I think it's a very exciting time, because the Olyroos will definitely look into a very, very competitive tournament at the Olympic Games. So they are playing Argentina, they are playing Spain, they are playing Egypt. And now this training camp, as I would call it in Spain, with 4 matches against, so they start against Ireland, and then they have 3 more matches against other Olympic team participants like Romania, and then Saudi Arabia and Mexico. So it will get us a very, very good idea. And as you said, I think the most prominent name probably is Daniel Azani. So we have to see what's happening there, because Graham Arnold always said, I need players who got enough minutes, and he definitely didn't get it. So that's probably his chance to get back on track. So fingers crossed, but it will be very interesting what's happening over there in Spain.
Yeah, look, obviously the Matildas had a camp recently that probably didn't go to plan with the results, but we just need the players to meet each other again. And, you know, it's been a long time between games, and these will be important 4 games, you know, against some quality opposition there.
Yeah, as you said, and also I read recently a statistic where they said because you think about Olympic Games might be not so important, but there were I think 60 or 64 players that in history played for Australia at the Olympic Games, and 56 of them were then sold overseas afterwards. So that clearly shows you that don't underestimate the Olympic Games for the players themselves, but also if you think about building up the Socceroos. And there are a few players there that probably will never get a chance again to get playing with their teammates on a national level. Also, some players might miss that one because they will be with the Socceroos, like maybe Thomas Deng, who might then be considered for the Olympic Games. So it is more important than people might think, and I wish them all the best, and good results definitely very, very necessary.
Yeah, we really hope that the Olyroos and Matildas can put in a strong Olympic campaign. It's great fun to watch at the Olympics, all the football.
Yes, no, absolutely. And also that sometimes it will be interesting for Australia. You can get 3 players, or in general 3 players that are over the age of 23. So Graham Arnold always said, look, I'm not building the team around those 3 players, but who he might consider then in addition is also another point that might give you a little bit of more exciting interest. But yeah, first time also for a long time that Matildas and the Socceroos, so women and men, both compete in the Olympics. So fingers crossed.
Yeah. Bern, we just have a little time left. I just want to go back to the A-League and discuss the final few matches that will shape the final series. Melbourne City have clearly won the Premier's Plate, but there's not much separating the rest of the teams. Who do you think can put the challenge out to Melbourne in these upcoming finals?
Very good point. I mean, I must say, as an objective football supporter, I really hope that Melbourne City will also win the championship, because I know that the system is as it is. But if you win the whole season, the regular season, then you definitely deserve also to become champions at the end. But the biggest contestant, in my opinion, is Sydney FC. Also, if you think about the Socceroos and maybe JB McLaren, we have mentioned him so often being away for the Socceroos and not playing for Melbourne City. That would be a very, very big loss. So Sydney FC definitely, but in the finals also, it's just one game, one day, and everything can happen then. So, but they are at the moment my favourites.
Yeah. Bern, I think we really need to push our fans to get out there to this upcoming final series, as it's very important we get some good crowds to finish the season as we go into this important off-season with some momentum.
Absolutely.
We're out of time again, so that's all for this week's edition of A-League Access. We'd like to thank our special guest, Western United youngster Dalibor Markovic and the GoSoccer Mums. Thank you, Bern. See you again next week.
Thanks, John.
A-League Access brought to you by Barry Plant.